Hi, in this video I want to give you an introduction to the Travis picking playing style. In this video I want to have a look at the Travis picking playing style. Travis picking is a commonly used playing style in fingerstyle guitar and it's used across a number of different musical genres. It was first attributed to country and western singer and guitarist Merle Travis, who was active many decades ago. And since then it's been used in numerous different styles of music, including blues guitar. As a brief overview, what it essentially involves is playing alternating bass notes with the thumb on the guitar, like so, and then playing the melody line with your index, middle and ring finger on top of that. So like so, and I mean that's basically what it is. Such style of guitar playing isn't new. I mean, using incorporating bass notes and melody notes has been used as far back as, you know, guitars have existed, you know, and what it ends up giving you is a far more fuller sound. So when you're playing bass notes and melody notes at the same time, it gives a far richer sound than just playing one or the other, and it almost, you know, if you're, you know, in certain pieces can sound like two different guitars playing. What makes Travis picking slightly different is that it uses this alternating bass line like this, as opposed to, say, just a single bass line like this. And what this gives it is a more interesting sound. Because it's not just the same note playing, it breaks from that monotony and gives a more interesting and varied sound in the bass line. And when it's all put together with the melody line put on top, it makes for quite an interesting and good sounding piece of music. Okay, that's just a brief overview of it. So what I want to do is go a wee bit more in depth and show you how it's structured in the music. First I want to show you how to play the bass notes. Before that, just to let you know that this guitar is tuned to open D. The reason I'm using an open D tuned guitar is that you don't have to fret any of the strings to make a D major chord. And that'll make it easier in the examples I'm showing you because my fingers won't be getting in the way. If you want to know how to tune your guitar to open D, if you nip onto my website, I've got a video and a blog post showing you how to do that. The link's just at the bottom. Okay, how to play the bass notes. Travis picking's usually played in 4/4 time, especially in the more commonly used genres such as blues music and folk music. Now what 4/4 time is that there's 4 quarter notes, or 4 of these beats in every bar, so it would sound like this. And that would be one bar of music. I mean, it can be played in any time signature, but the reason it tends to be played in 4/4 is because it alternates. So you've got like that, and if you're playing it in 3/4 you would get out of sync. But usually it is played in 4/4 time. And in 4/4 time, each of the bass notes is usually played on each beat of the bar, or each quarter note in every bar. So there's 4 of these in each bar, so there's usually 4 bass notes played. Like so. And they're played at regular intervals, so they would each be a quarter note played at regular intervals. Where Travis picking varies from other picking styles is that it alternates the bass note between between 2 different strings. So instead of just playing the bass note on a single string, just playing the same note over and over, you alternate between 2 different strings and 2 different notes. So in this guitar, I'm going to play, instead of just playing the 6th string like I did previously, I'm going to play the 6th string and the 4th string and alternate between them. like so. And that would be a single bar of music. And that pattern just goes through the whole song like that. Now, obviously, as you change different chords, you might need to use different strings. So if we get this G chord up here, so instead of playing the 6th and 4th string like I did for the D chord with it open, I'm now playing the 5th and 4th. Like so. And depending on the underlying chord in the music, you would switch between different strings. So you could be doing like so. And that's basically all you're doing in the bass part of the music. You're always picking with your thumb. I mean, there may be more complicated pieces of music where other fingers come in, but for standard Travis picking, the thumb is always playing these bass notes, and it's always alternating between strings. And the strings you use tend to be the bottom 3 strings of the guitar. In most pieces, that will be the 3 strings you'll use. So the thumb will only be playing those 3 strings and alternating between them. And sometimes it'll be the 6th and 4th, sometimes the 5th and 4th, just depending on what piece of music you play. Obviously, there's pieces of music where this varies, but just the standard Travis picking is played like this. So once you've got the bass line handled, it's then time to start looking at the melody line now. I've shown you how the bass line's played in Travis picking. Now I want to have a look at how to incorporate the melody line on top of that. Now the melody line is played on the higher strings of the guitar, and it's usually played on the top 3 strings. These strings. And it's usually played using your index and middle, or your index, middle and ring fingers. Now, what strings you play with what fingers is entirely your choice, and it will be dependent on the piece of music you play. So, as is the same in classical music, you may have it that you're just playing one string like that, where one finger only plays this string, the index finger playing that string, the middle finger playing that string, and the ring finger playing that. If that's what you're comfortable with, play it like that. It may be a case that you only use 2 fingers to play it, and you may jump between strings. Like so. It really is up to you. But the important part is that these fingers are playing the melody line on the higher strings. So in theory, it's all quite easy. You've got your thumb playing the bass notes, your other fingers playing the melody line. The difficulty with this style comes with incorporating it all together. I've showed you how to play the bass line and the melody line, and now I want to show you how to incorporate the two together, which is the trickiest part of this Travis picking playing style. Now, like I said, the bass notes are usually played on each beat of the bar in a regimented fashion, strictly on each beat, with a uniform space between them. And that's easy enough to do when you're just playing the bass line. It's when you start incorporating the melody line that you can start getting the bass notes out of sync and not in a regimented fashion, and that can make the music sound off. So really the key is keeping that bass line regimented and playing the melody on top. Now, there's no real way of doing this without just practicing a lot, but if you understand how it's structured, it can make it slightly easier. Now, I'll give you some examples and I'll put the tab on screen of what I'm playing. But usually the melody notes are either quarter notes or eighth notes, especially in blues music and in folk music and such other styles that use Travis picking. Because of that, it means that each melody note is either going to fall on the beat of the bar or between each beat of the bar in a uniform pattern. Like I said, I'll give you some examples. So if the note is getting played on each beat of the bar, you're going to be plucking it with the bass string. If the note's getting played in between the beat of the bar, you're going to be playing a bass note, a melody note, a bass note, and it's all going to have equal space in between it, like this. Okay, so that's using quarter notes for the melody line. So that's them getting played on each beat of the bar or between each beat of the bar. Now, if you're using eighth notes, again, they're going to fall on these same spaces. So they're either going to be played on each beat of the bar with the bass note or between it. The only difference is that you're playing more of them. So it would be... like so. So each of them would be getting played on each beat of the bar in between and keep going through like this. And that's really the most basic way you do this Travis picking, by incorporating the bass line and the melody line together. So what I'm going to do in future is I'm going to give some more lessons to help you train yourself to do this. But for most part, if you can get that, you should be able to get quite a few Travis picking songs done. It does become harder in blues music though, and the reason it's harder in blues music is that when you're playing eighth notes, you often aren't playing them as straight eighths, so they aren't with a regimented equal space between them. What they are is they're played with a triplet feel. Now what a triplet feel is you're basically splitting up a triplet. I've done a video on this and the link will be below. But what I want to do is show you the difference, and this can make it much harder to use Travis picking in blues music. So, like I showed you before, if you're playing the eighths as straight eighths in the melody line, it'll sound like this. But when you apply a triplet feel, you get... and that can make the timing, you know, significantly harder doing this. The only way to do it is realistically just practice each piece of music and you'll soon get it. What I do want to do is make some more tutorials in the future that will train you to play this style of music and also play it in the blues. We'll also play it as it's played in blues with this triplet feel, which is harder. That's just a brief overview of how to do Travis picking guitar. Now, not all blues music uses Travis picking, and it tends to be more limited to the older country blues music. If you want to hear some examples of it, you can look up people like Mississippi John Hurt or Blind Blake, who use this style quite commonly in their music. It's also used extensively in folk guitar, so people like Ralph McTell, for instance, use it quite a bit. So you can look around and listen to some of their music and you'll hear it, you'll hear the Travis picking style within it. So what I want to do in the future is make some tutorials to train your fingers to play in this style, because it can be very, very difficult when you first start out. Once you get the hang of it, it is very easy depending on the piece of music you're playing. But I hope that this little introduction has given you an idea of what Travis picking is and given you a little start on how to play it in music.